Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming and more Nightreign. Today I want to get into that big topic everyone's talking about, how to get OP, aka just strong, every run with the best odds of that. I think a lot of these guys do cover a lot of general information, the basic mechanics, a lot of beginner stuff. I want to try separate from that and give you guys the keys to a more strong run. That means you need good knowledge of your class, its scaling, what weapons you want to hunt or ignore, what passives it needs, as well as the relics to set this up in a consistent way. I'm going to try cover these things and break away from the usual stuff, so I hope it's actually helpful. Let's get into it. Right, the first thing is the character and understanding it. I'm not going to be telling you about their passive abilities and the basics of them. I'm going to assume a good amount of knowledge here. What you need to know is the character's scaling and what that means for what kind of weapons you're ideally wanting to hunt, as well as the main playstyle focus that this character should run. So a simple example of that would be Wilder, who is great as an Ash of War spammer. Let's take, say, the Executor. He is the ultimate status builder and successive attacker with dex weapons. Raider's going to be great for stance breaking and going for critical hits, maybe a build around charge attacks, charge heavies, or jump attacks. Guardian's going to be the guy that wants to take aggro and reflect damage with its unique Steel Guard passive. The playstyles that they want you to play with these characters, I think, are pretty obvious as soon as you understand them and look at their scaling. To understand them, you just need to look at their scaling. So go to the visual codex and literally just look at it. Wilder, he's strength A, dexterity B. So that's a really good scaling in your melee weapons for both the main stats. This means that he's going to do great with quality weapons that scale really well with both. In the same place, the visual codex, you can look at all of the weapons of the game and quickly identify what is a good quality weapon. Obviously, he starts with a greatsword. That makes it really clear what a quality weapon is. B strength scaling, C dexterity scaling. All of the greatswords have this same scaling, and then maybe depending on what it's got some faith slapped onto it, arcane or intelligence, whatever. Looking at a curved greatsword, we can see that it's got B strength, B dexterity. Also an amazing quality weapon in this context, so it's another great option. Then we find katanas. They have bad scaling in strength, but S scaling at dexterity. Well, that's probably not for me on Wilder then, is it? Who that definitely is for is Executor, who has S scaling in dexterity and S scaling in arcane. So he wants a high dexterity weapon that has some kind of status or element that scales off arcane. So that's pretty much any katana with their S scaling dexterity, but if we can get anything slapped on top of it like bleed, then arcane's going to have an impact as it scales with arcane. If you're unaware, it works a bit differently in this game, in that poison and cold buildup, those kind of ailments, rot, arcane is actually going to scale those up, so you proc them more often and faster with arcane. Raider, another simple one. S scaling strength and a bit in a bunch of other stuff. What a shock. He's going to work great with your hammers, your colossal weapons. Great axes, another S scaler in strength. You don't want to be using like a great sword or a straight sword or something tiny on this class. And understanding that is like the basics of being able to form a strong build for the correct class and playstyle it's meant for. On that note, for some reason, Recluse is both your top pick for faith and intelligence at the same time. If you thought she was just a spellcaster, you're unfortunately wrong. She is a peak faith user. The only other peak faith user in the game is Revenant, but Recluse is just better because in a run with RNG and getting overpowered in a guaranteed way, Recluse could find an awesome faith setup and run it incredibly well. But if she finds an awesome intelligence spellcasting setup, she can run it incredibly well. Meanwhile, Revenant wants a faith setup and a lot less an intelligence setup because her scaling isn't as good in intelligence. I don't know why it's balanced this way, and I hope it changes. But I hope that gives you a nice overview of what the characters are trying to do, what their playstyles are, what you're supposed to be hunting, and why. Get acquainted, take a look at the visual codex. To get OP fast, I suggest you run a meta team comp. The meta team comp that I'm going to suggest for you is Duchess, Ionai, and a third. Why Duchess? Pretty much entirely because of her restage skill. You can use this often because it's a skill, not an ultimate, and it doubles up the damage you just did in the last few seconds. So if your teammate, like Wilder, smashes the target with an ultimate, the Onslaught Slake, maybe at the same time as your Ionai hitting with a single shot or a mark, then you repeat that damage instantly. Being able to time this really well with a good burst and communication with your team is absolutely devastating. Then you've got Ionai. I think he's most obviously one of the most impactful characters you can have on a team, especially in a group, but he's also amazing solo, largely because of the skill Marking, which creates a weak point which reduces their poise and pops for good damage when it works. Say I, he has relics that mean his mark will last longer, so it's guaranteed to go off, or makes the marking cooldown shorter, allowing you to spam it more often. Whereas Duchess has a unique relic from her memory questline that causes that repeat restage to occur during dagger combos, as well as using the skill directly. It's insane. The third slot can be varied, but I think you can't really go wrong with Wilder as a reliable disruptor and tank, and Ash of War spammer. But then you could say the same for, say, the Guardian for being the tank and reflecting damage with the proper setup. You've got Raider for breaking stance and being the tank again. Executor's insane for being a status spammer, and your casters are going to be great for their utility, whether it's incants or sorcery buffs or otherwise. But in my opinion, you want, in a meta setup, I and Duchess, and then the third that works with them. Alright, now let's talk about relic setups. This is a bit of a big topic, but it's a very important one if you want to get OP every time. What you can do is find relics like this one that cause your starting armament to have some sort of element effect. So, Knight of the Beast, the first one we're all going to get, is going to give you a guaranteed way to give your starting armament fire damage. Looking at the list, fire damage is going to be ideal against the Sentient Pest and the Fissure in the Fog. Nightlord weaknesses are very impactful, and you probably underrate how important they are. Imagine it as, yes, increased output against that Nightlord, but also it helps build stuns way more than normal, but it seems to have some other interesting effects. Like yes, against Gladius, when he splits into the 3 wolves, I've noticed the poise is a lot lower, and when you have the element weakness, which is holy in that case, the staggers are way more common because of it. But then against, say, the Gaping Jaw, his weakness is poison, and when I brought that and procced it, it seemed to cause this special vomit animation, which held the boss in place for a while, interrupted what it was doing, and obviously this is a big window for damage. So it's important to do that, but here's another caveat. You might want a weakness for the Nightlord of that run, but it doesn't mean you have to use a weapon with that weakness for the whole run. Like obviously, don't be using a fire weapon against a fire enemy. Be more flexible in your run, and then swap to the element weakness weapon if it's good enough at the Nightlord. But there are all kinds of options here. Executor's a great example. As I talked about, he's insane for status build-up. So take the Knight of the Wise guaranteed talisman from the duo insect boss. Starting armament inflicts poison, guaranteed. He scales insane with arcane, so he's going to be proccing poison really well. This also means when poison procs, it increases the attack power. Having 2 people in your team with this setup is nuts. And obviously that's great against the Jaw boss like we just said. To make this guaranteed strong, guaranteed OP, I'd make sure my starting weapon has the thing that the Nightlord's going to be weak to. Then early into the run, day 1, I'd go to a mine, kill the boss, get the purple smithing stone. Then I'd take that to a merchant and guaranteed make that a purple. This gives me a strong weapon for the entire run, but definitely a good weapon for the Nightlord, removing the RNG essentially entirely. Otherwise, you set up your relics based on other reasons and hope that you find a good weapon and commit to it, ideally one with the element you need in the run. There's the element tag on locations to give you a guaranteed way to hunt these down. But there's a concept that I want to highlight. Many relics will have this, increased rune acquisition for self and allies. This seems to stack, so if all 3 of you have this passive effect on your different relics, then you'll be able to get level 14 and 15 in a run pretty much every single time, which obviously has a huge impact on your power. Here's another concept that I want you to think about. Knight of the Fathom. This is the guaranteed relic from Augur. Increased maximum HP. This is actually stronger than increases vigor plus 3, so it's insane. This is great on high health characters like Guardian, Raider, Wilder, but the other effects are ridiculous too. Flasks also heal allies, so you'll reduce the amount of healing everyone needs to do. Items confer effect to all nearby allies. You could pop a golden foot, so increase runes at the death of a boss and everyone gets that, or the damage buff of meat and that kind of thing. But that will also work on Revenant. The whole Flask heals allies thing can keep your summons alive. Lastly, I just want to make you aware of a combo that's absolutely busted for all melee setups. So that's Wilder, Duchess, Executor, and so on. You have Knight of the Beast, which gives you stamina recovery with each successful attack. So as you attack, you get stamina back, you can attack in a combo longer. You have the old Pocket Watch, FP restoration upon successive attacks. In combo with Knight of the Beast, you can do long combos. These 2 talismans are guaranteed and will basically be given to you after your first win, right? Though you can even get the Pocket Watch by RNG without getting a win. The third slot in this combination then ideally goes to a relic that has the Bloodborne Rally mechanic. Partial HP restoration upon post-damage attacks. So as you take a hit, you can heal back up if you attack within a short time after being hit. So the idea between the combo of Night of the Beast, All Pocket Watch, and then the final relic having that passive effect means that you can brain off, spam R1, and trade, heal through it, infinite combo, even do Ash of War spam. It's absolutely busted, and I haven't found it yet, but I'm very aware of it from seeing it on streams. It's so strong. Right, now just a comment on passives from the 6 weapons that you have. You have 6 equipment slots, that's 6 passives that should directly help you build. Nothing to do with a weapon type. You could be using a sorcery staff with someone that's never going to use it on, say, like your 5th slot, and it just gives you a passive that, say, makes you take less physical damage. You can easily achieve this by opening every chest you see, but also I want you to check the merchant maybe more than you do. Cheap weapons sell for minimal runes, even early in a run, and they have great passives like that. So the merchant can be a key way to get those 6 weapon passives that are relevant for your build. You can filter on the map to find where merchants are and find them by looking for the campfire. That's where he is. Just be aware that weapons that have the red hand icon on it means the item needs to be held for it to work, but that could be on your offhand, on your back while you two-hand a weapon, but it needs to be in one of your front slots. Final main topic, locations and their importance. The forts, or Castle Hate if you played Elden Ring, are basically insane. A prime target at the early start of a run. It always has a map in it which tells you where scarabs are. You kill them and then you get talismans. This is a guaranteed way to have talismans every run, and ideally ones that matter. Plus, this location has a weak boss every time, lots of chests, and extra item drops. So I want to go here at the start of a run every single time. Now, also, great churches are going to be great in day 1 because it's going to be an easy boss for a free dormant power. It's either a boss on the ground floor, a multi-boss on the ground floor, or you need to go into the hall and go to the cellar to find the boss there. Should you do Evergaols on day 1? Yes, if you do an Evergaol on day 1, the boss spawns in with half health, which means it's a lot easier to take down than you might expect. They also have 2 guaranteed rewards. There's either a passive or 10,000 runes or 20,000 runes, depending on whether it's day 1 or day 2. So on day 2, it's got more health, but better rewards, better passives, so they're worth doing on day 1 and day 2. Here's another big tip. Bosses keep the same health if you die while fighting them, or if you leave the fight. So in solo, I'll take on a wandering boss and lower its health, and then leave the fight, restock at a grace, and come back. It's absolutely broken, and I feel like they're going to patch this, so use it while you can. On day 2, you try to hunt every wandering boss that you can fit because they're so valuable, but using this trick can make it a lot more reliable. Here's another thing. The flame chariots are free. In larger encampments, you might have the flame chariot spawn, and you want to see them. All you need to do is run up and jump into them like against a wall, bounce up there, use a light attack, and you'll sort of glitch into their head, doing the instant critical kill animation. Do this 3 times and you clear the boss in record time, insane runes, and rewards. The castle in the center. Everyone says avoid it until day 2. You don't have to. Go there on day 1 and go to the basement. Kill the boss down there, that shouldn't be too bad. Then going beyond the boss, climbing up, you'll find the talisman room, which has a chest that has a guaranteed 3 talisman choice, making sure you get one that's relevant to you early in a run. Then you can come to the castle in full on day 2 when you're stronger. But you definitely want to do this because God, there's so many powers to collect. Next, the shifting earth events. Say the volcanic region, there's a legendary altar at the bottom which turns an item or weapon into a guaranteed legendary. Awesome, you go here every time it's on the map if you can on day 2. There's also other ones like the mountaintop. A warning on this one, the final boss will challenge you as you're climbing up. Ignore it, run past, go all the way to the top and get the power, which makes you super resistant to ice. Then fight the boss. There's also the Nox City and the Scarlet Forest, which I can't really guide you on, I've not done them very much. But generally, the shifting earth events are insanely valuable, so I do think you want to do them at the start of day 2. There's also invasion events, like say 2 dragons attack you out of nowhere, or NPC characters invade you. There is the Ogre invasion, Morgul, even the Moth Rune Thief. The Moth Rune Thief one's pretty bad. You'll get levels and runes stolen from you. But if you follow where the moths are running off in the distance, it'll lead you to where the actual moth is. You defeat it, and then you get everything back, a load of runes, and increased rune acquisition for the rest of the run. Awesome. TLDR is that invasion events are incredibly worth it for the potent passives they give you if you win. So if you're strong enough, definitely challenge them. On the other hand, if you ever see a Gargoyle boss, and in particular the Valiant or Black Gargoyle, my advice is to not fight them. Don't do it. They're way stronger than everything else for some reason. I've seen the best players simply ignore them if they ever see them. They don't have a valid reward in exchange for how hard they are and how long it takes to kill them. But yeah, there's all kinds of specific tips I could give you from run to run and all kinds of mechanics. More videos coming your way with more in-depth, detailed content like this. But for now, I think I'm going to leave it there. I hope this was useful. If it was, drop a like. And if you have any more advice, let us know in the comments. Until next time then, I've been Hollow, you've been you. Thanks for watching.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.